We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast with interesting people. And Amy's got like her own channel going on here. So, Amy, man, I got some stuff for you. Uh, but what do you have for us today, Amy?
Well, maybe your stuff will feed into my stuff. I just started a new book, Take Every Thought Captive by Kyle Eilerman. He's a pastor out of Louisville at Southeast Christian Church. And
That is the coolest thing.
have you read it?
Oh, but the passage in the Bible where it says,
Yes.
capture
About
every thought, what is
yeah.
that?
And renewing your mind. I think it's in Romans, like renewing your mind. And I don't quote me on the book right now because it's been a whirlwind week. But isn't that, I mean, when you think about what we talk about on this channel specifically, right? Taking every thought captive. I've been meaning to read this book for years. I just got it. So I'm just into it, Mark. What do you have?
So, Rosanna, my wife, she just laughs on how people share like everything with me. Like it's just bam. And so I've had two ladies, one's in her 40s, one's in her 60s, I believe, or late 50s. And my heart goes out to both of them. I just I just hurt for them. I just hurt for them. And so I mean the one I talked to yesterday, the one I talked to yesterday, I just I mean, it's fine, right? But I don't like, how do you not care? I don't think most people care, like on the white male over 50 call. Like, so I know two other guys and they've about my age, so 60, they're in their 60s. I'm in my early 60s, they're in the middle late 60s, and they've been married for 40 years too.
Hmm.
And both of them had, surgeries, and their wives are, making sure they take their medication and not get back to pickleball too quick and stuff, doing what good wives do. But do the wives care? Do the wives really care about the husband?
That's an interesting question. I could say yes and I could say no, but I don't know them.
Do you need to know them?
But I think it, two things come to mind, and it's one's based off a conversation yesterday too. A friend was talking about like, imagine Jesus is standing behind you, looking at the person you're looking at, and I'm like, imagine Jesus is inside of you, using your eyes to look at that person, right? If we're filled with Jesus, then we should be looking at people the way that Jesus does, with love and compassion and
What
care.
does love and compassion and care mean?
Right? Seeing where they're at and helping fill a need if we can, or getting them resources. Um, it's hard to love like Jesus did, because I don't think we'll ever do it on this side of heaven, because our biases, our own opinions, outside inputs have all changed kind of our lens on that. And I think, Mark, for your all's generation, I think of kind of the hippie generation, although you're a little bit young for that. But you had the whole women's rights, the women's movements, women power, all of that stuff. And I've never been a fan of the feminist movement or feminism itself, even though I'm a woman and I'm an independent woman who runs businesses. I think we have broken a little bit of that connection of real care and companionship to nurture. And I'm not saying that as a blanket statement. It's just a thought that I have that I feel recognized. And I was only married for 24 years out of 27 years of dating someone. And I will tell you at the end, I did not care what happened to him. I hate to say that, but I was over it. So again, lots of
There's
different
this, there's this woman,
situations.
there was this woman in, so she's, in her early 40s and a single mom, two kids, raised, her two children. Sounds like they're doing good. but she said, she has an opportunity and I'm fine. I came to the same conclusion she did before she came to it. I'm like, she's not right for the position. She's not right for the opportunity. But it's not for the reasons. It's like she doesn't want to heal.
Mm. And
She
yeah,
she wants to go ahead and she's a double driver. She's a double driver as a primary and a double analytic as a secondary. And when I met with her first time and I told her, I said, well, this is probably what, you've experienced. This is what the type of woman experiences. And she almost started crying. She says, that was so helpful. I mean, that was so amazing. And she had a goofball, husband that, um, went to church and met the guy at church, a good Christian guy, ex-Amish, I guess a high level, family. Turns out he was a pedophile.
mm, mm.
And, you know, I mean, but it's like, it's like, I'm like, I mean, it's like well, I'm in therapy and I'm going to continue to work through. So I really wonder if subconsciously therapists want to keep their people in therapy as long as they can. I mean, it makes sense for an economic engine.
Well, and Mark, too, look at this though. Think about when we are way under stress, we dig down back to our core personality, right? How we're going to go through this. And I have in the past, I love hiring single moms because of their tenacity, because it is on them. They will figure out a way to get it done in most cases, which isn't always healthy or helpful, right? But wow, I can't believe she's a double driver, double analytic. That she's got to be intense.
Oh my gracious. I mean, she's just amazing. And so, but you know, so I mean, there's two single moms on here. It's like, don't do it, Mark. Don't do it. Do not do it, Mark. Do not, just don't. Like, you're not that stupid. Your social autism is pretty strong, but
I mean, so I had Reagan was had just turned 3 when I started dating my ex-husband. And then we were together for a total of 27, married for 24. And we had 2 children together, but by the time we divorced, those children were raised. But I remember feeling like it was me and Reagan against the world when we were young and it was just the two of us. Does that make sense? And you're also very protective as a mama. It's very hard to bring a man into your world because like the pedophile thing, that was one of the things that terrified me. Like if you had any kind of trauma as a child, like you were on hyper alert to try and prevent that type of thing happen to your daughter. So you definitely built walls and built things. Now, I'm not an analytic, so the control thing is interesting, but I do have a little bit of driver in me, but it was always for me to just move forward and not necessarily take input from everybody, but just do it my way. And I'm sure she experiences doing things her way.
well, I mean, the Bible says that, that part of the curse for the woman is childbirth, pain in childbirth. The other part of the curse is that she's going to desire her husband.
Yeah, and
Husbands
be
want,
subservient. Yeah.
yeah, husbands want to think that that's sexually like your wife is wired to desire you sexually. No, not so much. She's desiring to control you. And yeah, she'll use sex or anything she can do to control you. That's a woman, the control women and how they control things. It's baffling, and men like it until they don't. They, they want it until they don't.
Well, but it's like using your superpower for good, right? Like ADHD. I think there's some really good superpowers in that, right? But
Right.
it also has a very bad downside. It causes spiraling. It causes a little bit of frantic. It causes, high energy, mind spinning, mind worst case scenario over and over and over again. So finding a balance in that, but also communicating that too. And you talk about what women want. That's why I love that book, The 5 Love Languages. man, if you are in any kind of relationship, figure out that book because then you can speak to each other's love language and you're not guessing, right?
Well, but the thing is, what sells books? It's making women feel good. If you can make a woman feel good, you're going to sell books. You just are. It's not for the help of the woman. It's not to make. I mean, it's crazy. On Sunday, on Father's Day, they talk about at church. They go ahead and say, "Happy, happy wife, happy life." I mean, fortunately, I wasn't in the service. Otherwise, I don't know. I can't contain myself anymore. It's like that's just stupid.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't like that phrase either. That phrase also drives me crazy.
I mean, it's like everything surrounds women, and women are the center. They become princesses, don't even realize they're princesses. And it's just a mess. It's just a mess. And so, like, like what you say about single moms, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with it. And do I say it or don't I say it? I don't know.
Just say it, Mark. It's all good. I got thick skin. Nora and I will tear you apart if we need to.
So, Nora, do I say it or not?
I don't think I've ever tried to hold you back from saying something. Go ahead.
So, so it's fascinating when women go ahead and encourage you to do something, and then they get ticked at you for doing what they've encouraged you to do, like Abraham did with Sarah. She
Oh,
encouraged him to sleep with her handmaid. He just being a good husband and just saying, "Hey, I'll take one for the team. I'll sleep with a young virgin. I don't really want to, but you know what? So I'm willing to do that." He does what she wants, and then she gets ticked at him for it.
yeah, and I agree. That's a great example, a horrible situation. Like, I think as women, we should protect and support our husbands in good decisions and not encourage them to do bad decisions.
But the point is, Amy, who decides if their husband's making a good decision? It's the wife. She has a God complex about her. That's why she was able to, like Adam, let's be honest, Adam wanted to take of the fruit. God said no, but Adam didn't have the courage. That's why God created women, because Adam just wasn't fun. He just did what he told he was due. Like God said, work the garden, he did the garden. Man did what he was told to do. God's like, this isn't fun. I want somebody who's going to challenge me, create a woman. And then
Yeah.
she goes up against her creator. I mean, really, you think about it, that's really true.
But if okay, so if that's true and God actually did create the woman to challenge him, then the woman's just doing what she was created to do when she
Exactly.
challenges. So
Exactly.
why so like that's what so if
Right.
that's what she was created to do,
Right.
then you shouldn't expect anything less
I
from
don't.
her
I
and you
don't.
should
I don't
welcome
expect
it.
anything. She is selfish, self-centered, narcissistic. She's only about herself. She doesn't care about anybody else, and she's clueless about it.
Okay,
But I
but
Well,
then if that's the case, she's living in God's design, so you shouldn't be upset about it because that's what
I'm
God
not.
created her to be.
I'm not. I just like I just know
and
that's just how she is.
I love this. So, but keep in mind when Jesus came back, right? We man and woman have flipped a kingdom upside down on its head. We walked away from God's original design. I'm going to throw that out there and have this conflict between us because it just because sin entered the world. But Jesus come back and is like, look, I want to be a praying wife. I want to pray and support my future husband in the best way possible. But I'm going to go to God first. Had Eve went to God and said, "You know what? The serpent's telling me to go ahead and taste of this because I'm going to know this, know this, know this." The outcome probably would have been different. I'm not saying it would have. I'm just saying it probably could have been different. But I think because sin is just built and built and built and built and built, we're in this upside down kingdom that Satan just runs wild with. And it just takes a little nudging from Satan to get you off your kilter or to have you jump or to have you do that temptation or to have you do that one decision. And can I also add, I think when we're scattered, when we're busy, and our economy, we're all very busy people. Satan uses that to his advantage because when we're busy, we're distracted. And therefore, we don't take that time to set and go back to God and say, "Hey, Is this in alignment with you?
Well,
We
the
make
challenge is
decisions.
a challenge is the woman doesn't realize you're clueless. You're just clueless. You're just absolutely clueless. She thinks that when she hears from God, that's God speaking. She doesn't realize, no, you're not. You're clueless. And the churches support that and the therapists support it. I mean,
Well,
it's
and I think
crazy.
this goes back to a friend of mine said, I don't want to slide into hell on the pew I sit on. And that's why reading the Bible for yourself is critical. I went to a church, a Baptist church, Mark, where the pastor preached from books and not from the Bible. He told stories all the time. And he actually said, God does not hate anything. I'm like, well, it's in the Bible that he does. And I pulled up the scripture where he said, God hates this, this, and this. And it immediately caused an edge. Now, mind you, I'm a woman and I was ruffling feathers, right? But I think audibly, I don't hear from God, but I hear from God through his word. And you got to get rid of outside noise. You got to be careful. I'm critical of pastors. I'm critical of podcasts. I'm critical of everything because I run it through the filter of the Bible.
Well, then when you go into the Bible, what is the Bible really saying? And so the like, if women are listening that don't know me, I mean, I don't know Amy, she'll probably laugh. Nora, she might get ticked or hurt. And it's not the intention to get somebody upset. It's just like when I see a single, like I see why this woman that I talked to yesterday, I see why she's a single mom. Like single moms are single moms for a reason. I'm
Yeah.
not putting the blame on them. There's I'm harder on men than I am on women,
Yeah.
but it's like you just don't get it. And when you have two clueless people get together, a clueless man and a clueless woman, it just gets messed up.
Yeah.
Women, like on the white male over 50 call yesterday, I mean, there was one man, myself, and four women. So women, it seems to me that women, they're more open to hearing.
We got to get out of survival mode. When we're in survival mode, we let our past traumas run the show. So we do need healing. And I'm not a big fan of therapists. I mean, I think there are some really good therapists out there. I prefer Christian therapists, but I want to always, again, run things through the filter of the Bible. Two,
When you
you
say
stay
run,
clueless until you start to heal. Like, and you have to recognize, like, it's like being an alcoholic. The first step is to admit that you have a problem. If you can't admit that you have a problem, you're never going to overcome that trauma and you're going to keep firing on your own personality. God designed us beautifully, but there's flaws in our personalities. Like when we're in stretched, if we're being stretched, we're tired, we're busy, we're overwhelmed, the worst of our personality comes out and we fire on our like cave woman, caveman, basic things, right? To just get us through the day. And I think a lot of single moms live in that area of it's full on survival. The other thing is, if you've always known it and it's always been that way, it's really hard for you to make a change and pull yourself out of that too.
and this is, yeah, it's just good stuff. But it's like in the book, You Are the Placebo.
Yeah.
Um, that is an amazing book. And, and it has a quote in there that's really, um, that I want to read. And it talks about change. And when I read this, like the first time I read it, I'm looking for an answer. Like I'm looking for an answer, and I don't know that people have questions they're looking for. It says when people step into the river of change, that void between the old self and the new self is so uncomfortable that they immediately slip back into their old selves again. They unconsciously think, this doesn't feel right. I'm uncomfortable, or I don't feel so good. The moment they accept this thought or auto suggestion and become suggestible to their own thoughts, they will unconsciously make the same old choices again that lead to the progression of the same habitual behavior to create the same experiences that automatically endorse the same emotions and feelings. And then they say to themselves, this feels right. But what they are really what they really mean is this feels familiar. So women are there, and they get it from the church, they get it from therapists, they get it from other women, they get it from everybody. It's about feelings, and it's like, like I'm going to go with my instincts. It's like, how's that served you in the past? And it's weird how women go ahead. I can't tell you how many it served me well, and it's like they do a mind shift and they reinvent. They go back and they change. And they said, I had a bad feeling about this. And it's like, but they did. They really did. It's like they recreate something that it's not true. It's like a mind shift. And it's like they become pathological liars to themselves and they don't know it. They're not even aware. And
Well,
I don't know what to do. It's heartbreaking.
and I think I fought journaling for years, and I've had a prayer journal that I abuse this year. Like I'm in it every day almost, not every day, but when I need to. And I pull a bunch of scripture into that too, right? Because the Bible speaks truth. And when we go back into our feelings are not always true, right? We're going back to what is known or what is comfortable because it's hard to be in an uncomfortable situation. And I think if we want true change, again, we have to call it out and we have to admit it. But we also want truth spoken in and not the lies of the world. And the lies of the world are all around us.
Well, that's where in the Bible, I mean, it's just fascinating to me on how people cherry pick the Bible to support their own perspective and they get deceived in thinking, I mean, the devil used the Bible,
Yep, to tempt
against
Jesus.
Jesus, to
Yep.
tempt Jesus. And so we use the Bible and we say, well, here's this and this. And it's like, I mean, when you look at, I don't know. I mean, I
But you need
understand what,
context. Context and cross references are the key. Like you can't just pull a verse out for your, but again, look at the context. Like when there's a verse, like what's above, what's below, what are other cross references, right? You don't want to just cherry pick. You want to look at what is the whole thing like here. Like last night in prayer, and I was watching a little bit of TV and I was praying off and on, and there's some big needs out there right now, some big health scares for some people that I know. And it's like, what is God trying to tell us all in this situation? And I was like in the book of Daniel, and I was in some other Isaiah, then I was in the book of John, right? And all being all over actually tied that whole picture together. I wrote verses down from all of those, not just one verse, but it's, looking at context, trying to evaluate, understanding what they're trying to accomplish. Also, even understanding who the audience was back then when these were being written, right? But it's still God's word's still true today as it was back then, but you just definitely need context. I don't like when people use the Bible as a weapon either.
well, and I think the thing is it's, what is love? And it's just fascinating. I was talking to one of the guys I play pickleball, and they talk about Jesus and how Jesus is loving and this and this. Well, Jesus is the one that is going to, the one who was crucified is going to be the one that makes a decision going to hell. Like it's like based on what Baptists teach. And so it's like, and when you talk about, the master who went ahead and forgave the servant, well, my understanding is forgiveness. Like when you say you forgive, that's like Jesus forgiving us. But if you don't forgive somebody else, then the master unforgave. How could you do that? Like, so now it's conditional, like almost like God saying, so if you don't do it, I'm not going to do it to you. Well, isn't that conditional love? Well, so these are questions from a Baptist, pastor's kid that are not being answered in church. People don't even talk about it. People throw about around love and caring and all this other stuff, but do they really think about it? I don't think
Um,
people do.
so PB Church, I know you brought this up. And if I can, do you want to carry this to BB Church on Sunday? Because I've got some stuff specifically on this topic and we're going to run out of time today.
I would love to because it's just like for me, it's like God, I just want to know the truth. And if the truth
Yep.
hurts, it was meant to hurt. And the more it hurts, the more it was meant to hurt. And it's like, but I like, there's another woman that's, in her 60s and something happened when she was 13 and 15. And I don't think she's healed from that. And it's holding her back immensely. And I'm like,
Yeah. I literally I could probably talk the whole PB church, Mark, on this topic specifically.
it's awesome. It's awesome.
But it's interesting to see, but I think again, we have to take ownership of our feelings, our thoughts, take our mind captive, just like this placebo, and step into the uncomfortable. We don't grow when we're comfortable, we grow when we're stretched. And as painful as it is, and I'm going through a stretching season right now, and it sucks. I'm being stretched. But I know on the other side of it, it's going to be probably better than I could have imagined or planned in my business and everything, in my relationships, everything. It's just really hard right now. But I think you have to and we have to turn off the outside noise. Think about how many times people spend on screens, right? We're infiltrating our mind with everything else but what we need.
Yeah, Mike Bailey, it was interesting. He said some, the path to heaven is narrow. And so Baptists think, well, yeah, globally it's narrow, but like, do you really think about all the people you're going to church with? Like, yeah, no, 80% of them, 90% of them might be like, yeah, depart from me, I never knew you. I mean, I
Oh,
preached in your name, I went
yeah.
ahead and did miracles, cast out demons. No, depart from me, I never knew you. What in the world does that mean?
Yeah, that's the scariest verse in the Bible. And I think it is meant to people that think they're actual believers in Jesus, but they maybe never really, I don't know. That's a whole nother topic, Mark.
I
The
mean,
feeling you were going to bring that one up. Yeah, that's the scariest Bible in the verse. And,
I,
and it's the fear and awe that we should have of God because he is holy and he holds us to a standard to be holy like him. But Jesus is our petitioner. I like to think of Jesus as our attorney sometimes. Jesus is going back to us, but we need to be all in. We can't be lukewarm.
yeah, and it's just, I don't know. It just, yeah, it's fascinating. I always enjoy our conversation together, Amy. Nora, any other final thoughts or questions or anything?
I don't know, thinking about what you said about, is God's love conditional? The first thing that popped into my mind was, well, he's God too. So there's also a sense of humility that you have to like he's my creator. So
Right,
like if he says, forgive 70 times 7,
Mm,
then I need to forgive 70 times 7 because he's my creator. So
mhm.
there's a
right,
humility that comes with that of who he is. And yeah, he created me in his image, but also who I am.
right,
And who I am, like, because of him and him living in me, like, is great, but I also have to have humility of and just be in awe of who he is.
Yeah, absolutely.
right. And that's where, yeah, and that's where, the PB church, this here, it's like struggling, it's like wrestling through. And so you two, women tease me a lot, and I never, and you two tease me a lot. It's like I'm like a boy, a 3-year-old boy. I'm just like why can't I say these things? But I feel I'm guarded around women a lot. I mean, my heart breaks for this woman yesterday. My heart breaks for this other woman. Like the other woman, she's in her 60s, and I talked to her husband. And I said, she just opened up, first conversation ever, and she told me all of this. I said, does that happen a lot? He's like, you're only the fifth person that knows about this. Her own dad and family don't know about what happened when she was 13 and 15. And it's like, but it's almost like with women, it's weird. It's just weird. When
Well,
you tell them something they don't want to hear, they immediately say, you're a man, you don't understand. You just don't understand. It's like, well, that's a possibility, or maybe you don't understand because you're a woman.
mhm.
Like, maybe you don't understand. Maybe men understand something about women that women don't understand. I don't know if women think that. If you say, well, Mark, do women understand things about men that, men don't understand? Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the reasons why you have a mom and a wife and daughters. but it's like, Elaine, good to have you. Did you have, I know you slid in. Do you have any questions or thoughts? I know you get picked up, not the whole thing, but anything on that you did pick up. Did you have any questions or thoughts, Elaine?
Yeah, I think I should have been on him from the start.
Yeah, normally on Saturday or on Thursdays, normally this starts at 7. But today we got started early actually. And so it's interesting on how it connects. Amy, anything else you want to say in closing?
Yeah, Mark, I think the women tell you these things, and I think God has put your heart on to care for them so that you can be an intercession and prayer over them. And I think if we start praying for when we hear these needs, maybe that's all we really need to do. It's not for us to solve sometimes. Sometimes it's just up for God. But having it on your heart, like, and praying over those people and keeping them in your top of mind and just going to God on their behalf, I think that could be a big reason why you are the one hearing these stories from these women.
So Amy, I don't even know how to convey how much she teases me, how much she taunts me, how much she triggers so much trauma and pain in my life, but I am disciplined. And so we will pick that up on another one about prayer and how Mark, if you asked Mark and said, Mark, do you think that Christians use prayer, as one of the biggest ways to procrastinate and avoid engagement? Is I'm going to pray. I do. I think that prayer, I think people, it's like, to him who do knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin. It's not It's not to him that knoweth to pray and pray not. It's like you do stuff. So I think prayer, I mean, it's fine. It's not, I'm not disagreeing with Amy and what she's saying, but in my experience, I mean, what I visualize a woman being raped and I'm praying that she not going to get raped. It's like, no. So I don't know. Christians, it just irritates me. And so you go into the history of me in prayer, it's insane. And I'm probably not where I should be in prayer, but when you look at the history of what it is, it's like, it's definitely interesting. And so
That's another topic I think we should cover at some point is like are prayers ever hindered because of I don't know, like is there ever a time when
well, the
we
Bible
might be
says they can
praying
be
and
hindered. The
yeah,
Bible
so
is clear. It's like your prayers can be hindered.
Yeah.
And so it and so yeah, so this is just this, it's like, ooh, we need to do part two, but not
Yep.
today. And so this is good. I love sassy women. Uh, I love them. I love when they trigger my trauma and all of the like, well, what about this and this and this? And normally when I share, well, what about this and this and this? The pastors and the others that say, well, this and this, it's like, yeah, Mark, we don't know what to tell you. Like we just don't know what to tell you. So you have any questions, connect with the individual, pass this along to somebody else. You probably won't, and it's okay because you don't care. And I'm okay with you not caring. So always remember we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye bye.